Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jason Gregerson. This video is going to be an introduction to the basics of PowerPoint. We'll learn how to create a PowerPoint project, insert some content like cells and text boxes, and then create a custom layout. All right, so to get started, I've opened up PowerPoint on my computer. I'm just going to navigate to blank presentation and select that option. That generates my first project here. All right, so what I can see is I have two text cells already created in my first slide. And if I want to edit those, I simply click in them and I can put whatever title I want. In my case, my title is going to be Integration by Substitution. All right, so I've entered in my title. I can move these boxes around, and if I select them and hit delete, I can delete them as well. So this is my title slide. I'd like to create some new slides. To create some new slides, I can go over here to New Slide from the Home menu. And if I just click on New Slide, it will add one for me of a default type. If I want to choose a different layout, I can hit this little drop down and see some other layout options. All right, so now I've created a new slide. I can add a title to this side. In this case, this might be process steps, right? So this is my integration steps. Now, certainly I have one content box created here. I'm actually going to select that guy and delete that so I can demonstrate how to add new text boxes. If I go up to an insert, I can insert all kinds of things from pictures and screen captures to shapes. So I could just hit a drop down and insert a rectangle if I so chose and then modify that. I'm going to insert a text box. So here I'm going to select text box. I'm going to outline the text box and where I'd like it to go, right about there, and then I can enter in some content. So here my text is going to say steps, and I'm going to list those steps, and once I'm editing a text box, I can go to Home and have all kinds of editing features. For instance, if I want to add a list of numbers, I just hit that numbered list and I can start typing here. My steps are going to be as followed. And as I'm typing those out, I realize that that looks pretty small on my slide, and maybe I'd like it to be a little bit bigger. And so I can certainly grab all these guys and then go up here and increase the font size to maybe something a little bit bigger. But if I know in general that I want my text box to always have this size and also always be maybe a little more spaced, once I create the text cell how I want it, I can then right click on that and I can actually set this as my default text box. And so now if I wanted to add a separate text box, over here and just start typing, I can see that the font size has already been set. So I can create text cells, I can set defaults, I can create objects, but my presentation still looks pretty boring. So now what I'd like to do is spice this up by showing us how to choose different themes. So if I click on the Design tab, I can choose from some pre-built themes from Microsoft. And I can also make my own custom themes. So I could go over to the View tab and select Slide Master. Slide Master will present all the different layout types of slides on the left. And if I go to the master here, any changes I make to this will then apply to all the different slide options. So for instance, I could modify my background to kind of create my own custom theme. I'm going to go to Format Background here, and then there's things I can do like change the background color, maybe to a nice light gray, for example. I could put an image back here and make all kinds of other modifications. One thing in my specific example that I did was I inserted some shapes to create some borders in the background. All I did is go to Shapes and create a freeform shape. And then I just sketched out some different triangles kind of as a border. You of course can make any sort of custom shapes or custom background that you like. All I did was complete this guy and then modify this shape by giving it a black theme. And then I did the same thing to create one more shape, some other little triangle over here that maybe looked something like this. And then I wanted to have Michigan Tech colors, so I believe I modified that to be goldish in nature. All right, so I've created kind of a general background. Note that you can change more than just the background though. So for instance, we saw how to modify a general text cell, but if I click on my title cell, I can also modify that. For instance, I could give that guy a white fill background. I could mess around with its border and do other kind of editing features if I wanted to this object. So in this case, maybe I'll give it a nice black outline like that guy and maybe make it a little bit thicker just whatever your personal preference is. And notice all these changes I've made to this master slide have affected all the other different layouts. Once I've made all the changes I'd like to make, I simply close the master view. I go back to my original slide presentation. I can see those changes have been made here as well. And in fact, if I go to new slide, it's going to keep using that custom background that I've now created. All right, so now from here I could simply resize my content however I want. And I'm basically in business for my first 2 slides. So that concludes this video on how to create a project, create a custom layout, create some text cells, and some other insertable objects. Thank you for your time.